volume. Kick it up just a notch. Okay, hey, welcome. Thank you for coming. Hello, Hartford. Hello, 1st Congressional District. I am Jerry Labriola, State Chairman of the Connecticut Republican Party. And on behalf of the Connecticut Republican Party, I would like to welcome John Henry Decker into the race for Congress for the 1st Congressional District. Over the last few years, I've had the pleasure to get to know John and his lovely wife, Melinda. And I've found in John Henry Decker a man of integrity, character, and common sense, exactly what we need in Washington, D.C. these days. Over the last 14 years, we have during the tenure of Congressman John Larson, it's certainly clear to me that our incumbent congressman, while he is a very close friend of Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama, and he's been a consistent vote for their failed economic policies, he is certainly no friend to the taxpayers of the 1st Congressional District or the hardworking small business owners. What we are going to have over the next couple months is a very healthy nominating process, and after we've completed that nominating process, we are going to be united as a party. We will offer a reasonable alternative to send a new voice to Washington from the 1st Congressional District. And without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce to you a gentleman who will introduce our candidate. So please give a warm welcome to Jim Lewis, who is President of Downtown Hartford. Jim.
Yes, I'm not president of Downtown Hartford, but business for Downtown Hartford. Let me tell you a little bit about John. As a board member of Business for Downtown Hartford for the last 5 years, John has developed a strong understanding of the needs of small businesses, and he understands the issues addressed in trying to revitalize downtowns everywhere. As a certified financial planner, John understands the inner workings of the financial world. If you think about it, John is in the future business. He is focused daily at the point where people's dreams and hopes for the future meet with the cold, hard reality of the present, and it is his job to connect the two. I can't think of a better qualification for a congressman in these tough economic times. John grew up in Maryland and graduated from the University of Oklahoma. He and his wife, Melinda, 16 years ago, chose to move to Connecticut to raise a family. As a result, he has a unique perspective on what makes Connecticut great, and he also understands the concerns and issues of those in other parts of our country. As a father of 3 young children, he is greatly motivated to tackle the major issues facing our nation to make sure that his children will not be the first generation of Americans to have a lower standard of living than their parents. As a treasurer and deacon of his church, John understands leadership, faith, and the very important concept of service above self. Mostly, John, as evidenced by his announcement today, brings a passion for this calling that will serve him well and serve the citizens of Connecticut well as a congressman. Allow me to introduce the next congressman from the 1st Congressional District, John Henry Decker.
Woo. Wow, it's fantastic to be here. When you make an announcement like this, you never know how many people are going to show up, if it's just your friends or family. But to see so many people here, it's overwhelming, but it's exciting and overwhelming. I mean, it really gets me very excited to stand in front of you and talk to you about why I want to do this. But before I do, I really want to thank you all for coming here. To my dad, thank you. Wow, I didn't know I was getting emotional already, but tough start. Well, my dad taught me so much in life about growing up. He was always told me about doing your best, about working hard, the value of a dollar. And he drove down here from New Hampshire to be here today. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's also great to see a lot of current candidates and past candidates. Joe Visconti from 2008 and Brickley 2010. Thank you for being here, y'all. Melvie Lennon, who's running in the 2nd Senatorial District. I saw Brian Hill. Thank you both, and good luck in your races. I'd also like to thank and introduce a couple members of our team. Sarah Solomons, who is our communications director, has been done so much more. Brett Cavalieri and Kelly Peck, and others. My family, of course, are here. A couple kids. One of my kids actually now behind me, I guess, so it's nice to have them here. Jim, thank you for the introduction, and Jerry. What Jim said is correct. Melinda and I moved here 16 years ago. Hard to believe it's been almost 16 years ago. And I remember when we moved to Connecticut, people asked me, why Hartford? And it resonated with me. Why Hartford? Why do you want to go to Hartford? And at that point, I started thinking, like, you know what? We need to do more for Hartford. We need to support Hartford. I want to go back and talk about the good things going on in Hartford. So we made the conscious decision to try to go out and shop and eat and dine within Hartford. I remember going into Tuesdays and meeting Ronnie Morneau. And he's like, where are you from? And I said, well, we moved up here from Tulsa. And he says, well, you know, what brings you in? I said, well, we're trying to shop and eat downtown Hartford. My father has season tickets to the Hartford Whalers, so we try to go out here down here as much as we can. And he looks at me and goes, we need you. We need more people like you involved in Hartford. Thank you for coming in. So ever since then, I've been trying to get more and more involved. Now I'm on the board of directors for business for downtown Hartford. So it's hard to believe what brings me here to this day, announcing in front of you when I come here 16 years ago that I'm here to formally announce that I'll be filing to run for U.S. Congress in the 1st Congressional District. Three years ago, I wrote a letter to President Obama. I told him that I wished him good luck and I wished him success, but I also told him at the time that I thought his nearly $1 trillion stimulus bill was doomed to fail. I think about that stimulus bill, and I think about what it has led to, and when people got these checks. And when I talk to individuals, being a certified financial planner and working with individuals like yourself, working with companies and talking to the employees, no one said that they're going to take these checks and spend them and save America. They're going to go out and they're going to pay down their credit card bill. They're going to pay off their past due heating oil bill. They're going to save it because they're worried about losing their own jobs. Today, when you think about it, our deficit last month alone was $229 billion in 1 month. Our federal debt is even worse. We're at $15.6 trillion. If you remember last summer, our debt was at $14.4 trillion when my opponent, John Larson, called for a super committee trying to deflect the blame on the president in Washington and our Congress. So let me try to explain how much $15.6 trillion is. It's an amazing number. The way I've started to quantify it is in terms of dollars. Maybe that's what I understand best. But if I were to give any one of you a $1 for every second for the next year, you would obviously like me. That $1 every second for the next year would be $31,600,000. To get to 1 trillion, it would take me nearly 32,000 years to give you $1 every second. Multiply that by 15.6 and you get nearly 500,000 years it would take me to give you $1 every second to get to 15.6 trillion. My friends, Washington is out of control. Every day that you and I wake up, our country goes into further debt by $4.2 billion a day. $1 billion a day of which is interest. That's $365 billion a year that we pay in interest. Think what we could do with $365 billion a day, not wasted on interest, but giving back to taxpayers and helping small businesses start and helping people find jobs. And while these numbers sound just like that, they may be numbers, we need to pay attention. They are like an escalating credit card bill that you get, a statement that you get in the mail and you open and you see that continues to go up. You see the interest payments continuing to rise. You have to make the tough decisions as an individual on how you're going to get by, how you're going to make those minimum payments, how you're going to pay that credit card bill off. And they get tougher and tougher each month. The more you spend, the less you pay. Our government is the same. They will take more and more of our taxes to pay our debt while continuing their wasteful spending. And we will have less. You will have less to spend on your family and less to give to the community, to the organizations here in Hartford that help so many people that don't have jobs or are homeless. They will hurt all of us, but especially those organizations that need our support and your families that you work so hard to support. When John Larson won back in 1998, we had a balanced budget and manageable debt. 14 years later, after our current congressman actually called for more spending like he did last summer, he's asking us to send him back to Washington to spend some more. I'm sure he even assumes he will get there, but we can't afford to send him back to Washington for another term because we can't afford his policies. I also want to talk about the economy. In order to restore America and reduce our debt, we need growth and reform. We have to grow our economy. A truly growing economy solves a lot of problems. When you have a growing economy, we hire more people. Employers are hiring people, and they're hiring people here in the 1st Congressional District. A truly growing economy would help people right here, but people are struggling to find a job in this economy. There are so many uncertainties coming out of Washington that companies are literally frozen because they don't know what to expect. And when companies don't know what to expect, they hunker down in order to survive, much like you and I when we go through our own financial times. Obamacare is costly and intrusive. If you haven't heard the 4 most dangerous letters, IPAB, please ask your doctor. And no, it's not a new Apple product, but it's a board of 15 people that will literally tell you what care that you qualify for. Dodd-Frank is difficult to comply with and hurts banks with overbearing regulations. It makes it virtually impossible for small community banks to lend to new startups because of the regulations they must meet first. Small businesses, the creator of all new jobs, the innovators that are going to hire people that are unemployed right now. The difficult part is companies aren't hiring because they know in order to survive, they have to be more efficient. They have to save more and cut costs, yet be equally productive. If only our current congressman and Washington would do the same. And finally, let me close on what I rapidly believe is coming a problem, particularly here in the 1st Congressional District. A city like Hartford where people struggle to get by day to day. The cost of everyday life is skyrocketing. A recent CBS study showed that the cost of real inflation is 8%. This is the cost of everyday items that you buy. Your food, your gas, your utilities, they continue to rise. They're going up. These costs are increasing, but wages aren't. These costs are regressive in that they hurt the lower income families, like those here in Hartford, the most. Perhaps people in the 1st Congressional District, right here, they need our help. Our president actually lobbied against the XL pipeline, and John Larson voted against the XL pipeline. It was an easy decision. It was a chance to increase the supply of domestic oil produced here and in Canada, and to keep it here. Instead, we must remain dependent upon the Middle East and the tensions that cause the price to continually go up. So his vote hurt you, and it hurt everyone in this district as prices surge above $4 a gallon in this state. Ladies and gentlemen, I am blessed to be here in front of you. I have a wonderful family and a job. It was very difficult to make this decision to run, but every once in a while, I believe you have to find the courage to step forward to speak up when you think something is wrong or needs to be done, despite the risk. And I'm here to do that today. I'm here to formally announce that I'll be found to run for U.S. Congress in the 1st Congressional District. I'm here to ask you for your support in order to put an end to electing career politicians that put their self-preservation ahead of themselves versus the decisions that you and I must really make. I believe it's time to return to a citizens' Congress full of our friends and our peers, and I appreciate all your support and enthusiasm. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you all very much. I will also note, if you haven't noticed, Starbucks is here. They actually have a great, fun charity going on with the American Lung Association. They will be, where's Caroline? Is she not here? She is, they're going to be raising money, running the stairs here, and she's going to be leading the way. So please visit with them and help them if you can. And everyone else for coming out, thank you very much.